guys, welcome back to Bait and Tackle, and I'm your host Joe Frank, and today is an organizational video, and we are going to be talking and doing a 3D printed Skadis. It's from Ikea. You usually just buy the pegboard at Ikea and then you bring it home and you hang it up with hangers, but this time I 3D printed it. And we are going to hang it up on the wall. So stay tuned. This is pretty awesome. All right, guys, so as you can see, we cleared out the corner. I took all the electronic parts that I had and my little organizers and stuff and took them out. I'm going to put them underneath the bench so they're out of the way for bait making stuff. I put the one that I use bait making tools for up on the counter, and I've got my TV above that now. So I think I'm going to put one more of those on the other side of that, and then that way I'll have more part storage for doing any of my lead stuff over here, because this makes more sense. Now what I'm doing right now though is I'm going to take some of these, and these are just going to be my spacer boards, and I'm going to mount them to the wall here, okay? And I need 5 of them up through here to mount my new Skadis plates, or Skadis plates. I'm not sure what they call these, but this is something that IKEA made, and they make a 3D printable version, so I made these. So for weight support, I'm going to have a lot of tools on this wall, so I want to make sure that I have enough weight support for these. So I'm going to mount these. These are going to have some spacers on them, and I'll show you when we get to that point when we start mounting them, but they have little spacers on them. And I'm going to go 3 across, and then I'm going to go 4 up. So it's going to be 12 panels total. And then I'm going to do that on this side. That'll probably be this part of this video, part 1. And then we'll probably do a second video with adding some of the different organizers on to the Skadis back plates. Then that way you get to see some of the cool stuff that you can actually print to go along with this. And then I'm also going to do another video on filling this back wall over here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do another 12 panels. So my 3D printer has not stopped in the last like 4 days, and I'm just constantly pouring out. I'm just constantly printing out these panels. So I'm going to have 24 of those panels total, but this video is just going to be the 12 for now. We'll get it installed, and then that will be part 1. And then part 2 will be actually putting the organizers up there and maybe getting some stuff organized. So hang along with me. We're going to do some more speed run. I'm going to start putting these on there, and I might stop and explain a few things, but for the most part we're just going to kind of visually so you can see what's going on. And if anybody has questions, please just comment below and I'll get right back to you. All right, so to do what we're doing, I cut down some boards, and I don't remember how long they are. Let me just actually just do a quick measurement right here real quick. These are 28¼ inches long, and that supports 3 of these plates, right? And these plates are, I believe they're perfectly square, but they're a little less than 9½ each way, and I think that's the biggest I could get on my print plate on my Bamboo Lab printer. And I have an A1, not an A1 Mini. So, so what we're going to do here first, I picked up these redhead hammer sets. These are anchors for concrete. So what they are is basically just a nail, okay? And they're just a nail with a, what do you want to call that, like an anchor. And you just basically drill a hole in the concrete, drive that in there, and then you hammer this in, and it splits that open and snugs it against the concrete. So pretty awesome. I got a whole box of those. I figured I was going to be using quite a few, so and I'll use them for, you know, future projects and whatnot around a house. That's pretty awesome to have for concrete. So you got to have a 1/4 inch bit wood. That's to drill my hole through the wood, okay? And we're going to see if this is enough space here. That should be enough there for when I drive that nail in there into the concrete. So the first thing we got to do is make a hole, mark a hole in the concrete, on the concrete, so that I can drill my holes into the concrete. And I also need to see how far into the concrete I need to go. So I also have a level here, okay? So I'm going to put this up here like this. I'm going to prop this on top of my wood where I want it. Okay, and I want my first plate to be down pretty close to the table, but not super close, so I can run cables through and that kind of stuff, right? So we're perfectly level right there. I'm going to take my marker right now. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to, without moving this, I'm going to lean it down, and I'm going to mark right where the top of that red head thing is. Okay, so I need to drill. Actually, I can drill right there. It's not going to matter. Okay, so this one doesn't need to be specifically perfect. And I don't think the other ones really need to be perfect either. So I'm just going to mark that right there. So there and there are my lines. And I'm just going to, just so I can see that a little bit better. Okay, so I got my marks there. I know you guys probably can't see them. It's too small. But I'm going to go ahead, and I also had to buy a 1/4 inch. I also had to buy a 1/4 inch masonry bit. Okay, I got a nice Milwaukee one, and of course I don't really use Milwaukee tools. This set's actually Craftsman, but I use a different style drill. I probably should be using a hammer drill to do this concrete work, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and use this. And I also need to mark where I'm going to drill to, so how deep I want the hole. And I really don't want the hole that deep. I'm just trying to find some tape right now. Here we go. I really don't need the hole that deep. All I need the hole is as deep as this right there. So I'm going to take this. I don't know if you guys can see that right there. There we go. I'm going to take some blue painter's tape, like I use for doing my jigs and stuff like that. I'm just going to take a piece, and I'm going to wrap it around how far in I need to go. And I'm going to give myself a little bit of extra room for that nail. So I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it right there. Okay. Then that way I know how far in to drill. All right. So I just wrapped it around a bit right there. So that's as far in as I'm going to go with the head. And if you look, I'm a little bit deeper than that right there, which is good because the nail is going to drive into that and spread it out, right? And I don't think it goes in farther, but I just want a little bit extra room. So I'm going to clear this stuff out of the way. This is definitely going to make a mess, and it's probably going to be loud, but let's just go ahead and start doing this. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So there's one hole. There's 2 holes. And we take this guy right here, and it fits right into the hole. And then what I need to do is get a hammer real quick. All right, found my hammer. And the one thing I'm going to do just to double check, I think that got off a little bit. No, a little tiny bit, but no big deal. These don't have to be perfect. Again, I'm putting spacers on there, and I also need to tap this in. This red head actually came out a little bit, so I'm just going to tap this just a little bit to get the spacer in there. There we go. I want to get the sleeve in the hole as far as I can. Okay, so that's in there pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and tap these in. Oops. I guess it doesn't like that. I'm going to go ahead and tap these in. Wow. They really... Those are not going anywhere. So for weight support, that is phenomenal. You could put some glue in the holes if you want to, but honestly, that's not going anywhere. So the next thing I need to do is just put this here. And it's, like I said, it's going to have a spacer. It's going to come out, okay? But I need to plan where the next one's going to be. And I got to remember that when these 2 plates overlap, I want that board to be able to screw both those screws. So this has to be a pretty tight tolerance, because where two of these meet, I want them both to be screwed on the board like that. Okay, see that? So the wood's right here. Okay, so I got to have enough where the screws are going to be on both. So I need to plan on where it's going to be. So what I'm going to do is take this off. I'm going to measure my spots, my holes to put these on. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the next one in. And I'm just going to go ahead and rip through the 5 that need to go up on the wall as quick as I can. We'll do a speed video. So I got the first layer done. We are going to, let me get you moved here so you can see the whole thing. I'm trying to give you the best opportunity here. But I went ahead and put the slats up the wall. The one thing I didn't take into consideration with the concrete wall is there could be rocks in there. If I hit a rock, the hole's going to tend to go sideways. So one of them I think kind of went a little bit to the side, but everything else is level, nice and snug. They're not going anywhere. So pretty excited about this project. So let me stop this right here, and I'm going to continue on. One other thing I wanted to mention was that if these get off, you won't be able to mount in between the two right there. Like, see how there's the holes line up right there between the two? So you wouldn't be able to do a mount between those two would be the only issue. So if you don't get them snug enough, they have to be tight. Otherwise, you won't be able to do that. I'm going to primarily stick to just putting them on each panel. But again, there's going to be 12 panels on that wall right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on this wall. And that'll be probably part 3, because I want to get this one up, get my tools on there, so then that way I can start doing some work again. And then I'll go ahead and put that other one up at some point here. So this is all part of the organizational series. And again, I'm going to try to get another one of those moved over here next to this. Then that way I have 2 of those with parts. So let's get back to the speed run video. I'm going to put the rest of the panels up the wall. There we go. It is in and installed. Super strong. It's not coming off the wall. It'll hold tools up, no problems. I'm not going to have any issues with anything falling down. I think the weight support will be plenty of what's up there. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of hand tools and stuff like that that'll be hanging off of there. But I'm just going to take this little Clorox wipe and just wipe some of the concrete dust off of this. Hopefully that'll dry okay. But I wanted to, oh, that one's got a little ding in it. That's okay. But man, this came out great. And just as a little just a little thing for you guys, so you guys can see what I'm talking about with the, that one got marked up too. But just so you guys can see what I'm talking about with this, is you get these little baskets and you print these out, and there's all sorts of different ones you can do. So here's a little shelf, okay, a little shelf that I printed, and here's a little basket. And what that does is leans against at an angle to hold stuff. So check this out. So just pop it in there, and that's it. So the weight on itself will support that. Now that doesn't have a lot of, I can't put a ton of stuff in there, but you know what I mean? I can put a few things in there. And going across from board to board, looks like I did a pretty good job, so it lines up okay. So we'll get to printing some of these. I'll show you these. I may redo these because they're just not as heavy duty as I wanted them to be. But this shelf is perfect. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think this turned out really good. Like I said, it's Ikea Skadis. I don't know how to actually pronounce it. I'll have to look it up. But they sell it as a giant board, and you can cut it kind of like pegboard. You can put it in. But I figured this would be a cool project to do with the 3D printer. I could just print all the panels, put them together, and I'm going to do another batch of 12 and do it on the wall behind me. So I think this came out really, really cool. Drop a comment in the notes below. Just tell me what you guys think below the video. Just drop a comment. Tell me what you think, because this is pretty cool. I like this project. It was pretty neat. So for organization, I think this is going to be awesome. There's holders for paintbrushes. There's holders for pliers. There's holders for everything you can think of. So I'm going to print out a whole bunch of different things, and I already have some stuff printed, and we're going to put it on here, and we're going to test a couple of things, see how they are. So I'll do a video on that as well. All right, get you guys back to a normal view, but I hope you really enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you really liked it. I think, you know, having a 3D printer, you can usually utilize a lot of different things. Like I've printed all sorts of stuff. I mean, but this is really cool on an organizational level, how you can print something like this and it be functional and it's actually sturdy enough to, you know, withstand. So pretty excited about it. That's one wall. I'm going to do another wall, and I'm hoping that I can move my hooks from where I have them now underneath my lead station that's down here, and then I have some behind me on this there's a little pegboard thing down here. I'm trying to move all that stuff over here. Then that way I can grab my hooks and my lead pots right here, and then that way, you know what I mean, it's like a nice little area right here where I can do everything, and then all the finishing stuff will be over here behind you guys where that TV was and the little organizer. So I'm going to try to make this a little bit more, I guess it's just going to be better flow, right? So it's going to last a lot better. It's going to work a lot better. More efficient for me is definitely key. So I'm really excited about it, guys, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember that Sticker Mule store is open. I've been busting my butt just making new t-shirts, hats, that kind of stuff on Sticker Mule. Please go check that out. Go buy a hat, go buy a shirt. Please support me, support what I'm doing for the channel. Like I said, I'm going to try my hardest to bust you guys out a video every week. It's going to be kind of tough coming up because I'm going to be gone for a pretty good amount of time, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to squeeze in a video in between or not. So, but hopefully I can bank up a whole bunch of videos before I leave, and then that way I can still keep you guys entertained for, you know, on a weekly basis like I used to. So hope you guys like these organizational videos. Please drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Like, what do you think? And if you have any questions on this stuff, please feel free to ask. I mean, it's a pretty cool project, and it's very simple. So, you know, about the hardest thing would really that I had to do was drilling the holes in the concrete, which, you know, you can do that with a regular drill. You don't need a hammer drill. It'd be nicer to have a hammer drill, but you could use a regular drill, no problems, with a concrete bit, and it worked perfectly fine. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, remember to keep on baiting.